welcome to the channel, and in this video I wanted to talk about a movie that I find myself going back and rewatching a lot these past couple years with 1988's Dead Heat. I first heard about the movie in one of the In Search of Darkness documentaries. I think it was the second one. I thought it looked like a fun movie, and it wasn't long after that Vinegar Syndrome put it out on 4K back in 2022. I jumped on it pretty quickly since the limited edition version was selling really well, and I figured the movie would be worth the blind buy, and it was indeed worth it. It's a fun buddy cop action horror comedy starring Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo. They are two cops investigating a series of armed robberies, and after discovering that two of the robbers were actually reanimated corpses, after the coroner told them that she had previously performed their autopsy, she also tells them that the bodies contain some sort of chemical compound, and so our duo traces it back to a pharmaceutical company where they encounter another zombie after uncovering the machine that is used to bring people back to life. And Treat Williams is killed by getting trapped in a decompression room. They use the reanimation machine to bring Treat back, but he's only given 12 hours to solve the case before he ultimately decomposes.
Hey, you're hurt. Lady, I'm fucking dead.
The movie is filled with over-the-top action, tons of great special effects, and fun banter between the two main leads.
How many tickets is at this month so far?
What the hell do you care?
Good point.
Plus, the movie is only 80 minutes, and the movie never really drags. It has a breakneck pacing, so you may end up missing some of the exposition if you're not giving the movie your full attention. The movie was written by Terry Black, who's the brother of Shane Black. They definitely have similar writing styles, since Shane is also best known for his films to typically have two main leads, and there's always witty banter between them, like in Lethal Weapon, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and The Nice Guys. Shane does make a cameo in the movie towards the end as a cop. There's also this line in the movie,
Welcome to Zombieland.
I wonder if that had any sort of inspiration on Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick when they were coming up with the name for what would become Zombieland. The movie was directed by Mark Goldblatt. He got his start in Hollywood as a production assistant for Roger Corman. He then became an editor and has an impressive list of credits to his name, and he has worked for Joe Dante, James Cameron, Paul Verhoeven, and Michael Bay. This was his directorial debut, and he would only ever end up directing one film after this, with 1989's Punisher, starring Dolph Lundgren as Frank Castle. You can see his experience having edited a few action and horror movies definitely helped when it came to filming the set pieces in the movie. He also enlisted some great collaborators. He had Robert Yeoman as his cinematographer, and Yeoman has since shot the majority of Wes Anderson's films. He was even nominated for an Oscar for Grand Budapest Hotel. That's definitely not something I would have expected when I was doing my research for this video. I also found out he was recommended to Goldblatt by Robert Downey Sr. Steve Johnson was in charge of all the special makeup effects for the film. He had worked on previous films like American Werewolf in London, Videodrome, Ghostbusters, Night of the Demons, but this was one of the first films he took on after starting up his own workshop. The movie is filled with tons of awesome effects and cool zombie makeups. So with all the talent behind the camera, we get tons of 80s action, along with the awesome special effects you'd expect from a movie in this era. They blew up one of the robbers in the opening shootout, and then they had the other get rammed into by Treat Williams. And to achieve that effect, they used a dummy that they had marionetted. What's also really cool is that since our hero is a zombie, we see him get shot up throughout the movie, along with seeing him slowly decay. There's also a really great scene where we see a character completely decompose in front of Treat Williams. Steve Johnson said he used everything he had ever learned up to that point in crafting that sequence, and it's one of the biggest highlights of the film. If that scene doesn't convince you to watch this movie, then maybe the moment where zombified Treat Williams is trading bullets with another zombie, or maybe the scene where they go to investigate an Asian butcher shop and all the animal carcasses come back to life. It's a really silly scene, but it fits the tone of the movie. This movie also has one of the last performances of horror icon Vincent Price. Mark Goldblatt and Steve Johnson admitted on the 4K that they were huge fanboys of his and were stoked to work with him. Steve Johnson had the producers send Vincent over to his workshop to make a life cast for him. Even though the script didn't even call for Price to be in any sort of makeup, he just wanted to have a mold of Vincent Price's head, and people have used that mold to make recreations of Vincent. Price was only contracted to work 3 days, but they weren't able to complete all of his scenes in that time. So Vincent, like the true professional that he was, came back to film the remainder of his scenes for free since the producers were all out of money to spend. Price's character is revealed to be the one pulling the strings on this whole operation, just so he and some other rich people can come back to life after their time is up. It's also revealed that the series of robbers that were being committed were a way to help fund the resurrection machine, and that they were using people that were dead long enough for them to be just completely brain dead making them mindless and totally obedient. One last actor I want to mention is Darren McGavin. He plays the head coroner that's supplying Vincent Price with the zombie henchmen. I'll always think of him as Billy Madison's dad. He's also sporting a very convincing toupee, and his comeuppance at the end is very satisfying. The movie ran into some trouble with the MPAA, and some of the blood and gore had to be tuned down to get the R rating. And to add on top of that problem with the ratings board, the movie was barely promoted by the studio, and the movie just kinda came and went. The movie only made a little over $3.5 million. It's gone on to become a cult film thanks to home video. Vinegar Syndrome released this movie on 4K and Blu-ray back in 2022. It did have a prior Blu-ray release, but that edition had no special features outside of a trailer. Vinegar Syndrome did a new scan that's not just on the 4K but is present on the Blu-ray as well. They got 5 new interviews for this release. One of them is with director Mark Goldblatt. He goes over his career leading up to his directorial debut. He also talks about his love for genre films and gives a lot of good anecdotes on the making of this movie. It was also cool to see him in good spirits now that the movie has found its audience, and that the movie will continue to find more fans now with this new 4K. The other new interviews are with composer Ernest Troost, the editor Harvey Rosenstock, second unit director Patrick Reed Johnson, and visual effects artist Ernest Farino. They also got an interview with Steve Johnson that was on an 88 Films release over in the UK. He's one of my favorite special effects artists, and he seems like such a cool, down-to-earth dude. He tells a funny story about how he got the job, and when asked by the producers how much money he would need to achieve all the various effects, he just floated a random number, and to his surprise, they were like, "Sweet, here you go." He also talks about how he wanted to give Treat Williams a more punk rock look by the end of the movie, to mirror how he acts like a square in the beginning, and by the end he gives 0 fucks. So he spiked up his hair and gave him a shrapnel earring. I highly recommend this 4K to any fan of this movie, and as of this recording there's a little under 500 copies left on Vinegar Syndrome's website, and if you want to stream it, you can for free on Tubi. Thanks for watching this video on Dead Heat, and let me know what you think of this movie, or if you're going to check it out now. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a movie time.